Today we are going to be talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse Always Ready bundle available at armoredrepublic.com. It's a very practical kit, including everything that you need all the way from hydration to first aid to general purpose to magazine holders and to a very comfortable plate carrier. So included is the Testudo Gen 3 plate carrier, and we also have two C3 plates that I've included in the bundle. So these plates are multi-curve, multi-hit ceramic, so they can take multiple rounds. I really like these plates because it's going to offer level 4 protection. Thank you guys for watching. Again, you can go to armoredrepublic.com, linked below, and you can purchase your Kyle Rittenhouse Always Ready bundle today.
My name is Jamie Piles. I joined Samaritan in December of 1996. We were homeschooling our kids, and we were already thinking outside the world's box, if you will. And I saw a little tiny classified ad about this new kind of idea I'd never heard of before. My first reaction was, that's the kind of thing that we would do, isn't it? And so I finally called the number, talked to them, and the more I asked them questions, the more I liked their answers.
Oh my goodness. The FBI, I'm convinced at this point, they're public enemy number one.
Oh.
Like, for real. I mean, you guys will have, at this point, heard Paul Vaughn come on our show this week.
Yeah.
And all the stuff he's been doing with the FBI.
Man.
I got a FBI whistleblower coming on, hopefully in a couple weeks. Actually, he's booked in a couple weeks. So, FBI, public enemy number one. Welcome to CrossPolitic Studios. Pastor Toby. It's the Water Boy, and it's Joe Vandal. In place of Chocolate Knox, because Knox is working.
Oh, man.
Yeah, again.
Our Fight, Laugh, Feast magazine is a quarterly issue that packs a punch like a 21-year Balvenie, no ice. We don't water down our scotch. Why would we water down our theology? Order a yearly subscription for yourself and then send a couple yearly subscriptions to your friends who've been drinking lukewarm evangelical Kool-Aid. Maybe send some to your local FBI.
Yes.
Every quarter, we promise quality food for the soul, wine for the heart, some Red Bull for turning over tables. Our magazine includes cultural commentary, a psalm of the quarter, recipes for feasting, and laughter sprinkled throughout the glossy pages, and more. Sign up today. The next issue is Party Like It's 1776.
That's right. And it should be to the press and to your door.
We're hoping by 4th of July.
By 4th of July is the goal. But your son is getting married.
Yeah,
so
I know. It's a little...
It's a dance. It's a dance.
He's a little preoccupied, shall we say.
He's our managing editor. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, we're really grateful to have with us Siaka Massaquoi. He's back on CrossPolitic, which is always encouraging when some of our guests come back. We didn't scare them off. Previously, you may remember that he discussed his life in Hollywood as an actor and his fight for freedom in that industry.
In Hollywood.
In Hollywood. But this time, he's here to discuss why the FBI arrested him and charged him with 4 misdemeanors related to being at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Siaka, thanks for coming back on CrossPolitic.
What is up, guys? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for having me back on.
Yes, sir.
Should
we play the video first? The J6 video.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna play this video, Siaka.
Just real quick about this video. It's got a alarm noise going on in the background, so it's a little annoying to listen to. But really, just pay attention to Siaka and the violence that he's bringing to the Capitol. And then
I think I led with my teeth on this one too. So
okay.
So here's the video, and then there's some cuss words on the screen that you just need to ignore. Go ahead and roll the video, Neil.
Yeah, he's good. I'm literally trying to go. Yeah. We gotta wait for the people above. I got you. We're gonna work it out. I'm trying.
This guy here's been helping us.
Yeah.
He's good.
Bad cops.
Thank you, brother.
Always bad cops. Bad cops. Bad cops.
Bad cops. You can hear some AI voice in there saying bad cops, some sort of Twitch thing that I'm just too. Again, I have problems with volume.
Okay, boomer.
And following. Yeah, I'm a total boomer. I admit it. So, Siaka, was that you leaving the building on J6, or was that you coming in? What was going on right there?
So it's funny because that was a mixture of both, because that entire time of me in the building, that's as far as you saw me go, was 71 seconds. So,
yeah. Okay. And you broke a bunch of windows and trashed some offices?
No, I popped my head in. As you saw right there, well, especially with that one, as I was getting closer to the door, we started kind of shuffling in like we're going to a music concert.
Yeah.
And then we get stopped right there at the doorway. So then I reach over and start to kind of record with my arm to, reach out my arm to get as much as I can on camera.
Yeah.
And, there's police standing all around us. And one guy was just kind of standing there. I asked him a question. And then the next, I look over to the other way. And that's when this guy in full like riot gear, he comes up and he goes, "I need you guys to go back that way now." And so what you played was them being like, "Yeah, we're trying to go, but we're blocked off at the door."
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, it felt like one group was letting people in. And then some other group was like, "All right, that's enough. We're stopping them from going." And that's when pretty much like I could have gone all the way. I could have gone further in, but if it wasn't for that one riot officer who came and was like, "No, guys, I need you guys to go back the other way."
Yeah.
One given direction, that's exactly what I did. So we turned, and you have a good one too, because the alarm sound was turned down so you could hear the audio.
Yeah.
And you hear in the audio, I say, "Yes, we're going to work it out," and turn back to that group at the doorway and tell them, "Guys, let's go, move forward." Something in that vein. So I was relaying the directive giving to us, the only one that I ever got from any officers there, whether it was to leave or come in or anything, was, "All right, go back out the other way." I was like, "Okay."
And you obeyed. You obeyed. So you had your house raided.
Well, I think last time we had him on,
yeah,
he had mentioned that.
And then last November you were arrested at the Los Angeles airport. I mean, what? So review maybe the raid, and then how did we get to getting arrested?
Yeah, so they raid on June 10th of 2021.
Okay.
Which is funny now because it's like their whole push on Juneteenth, but they wanted to make sure they showed a black dude. Like they really thought. And I'm not all about all these different holidays, but I just found it really apropos. I'm like, really, dude? Like Juneteenth of all day, right? But anyway.
That's hilarious.
They came in, I've told this before, so we came in at 5:45 a.m., 15 agents, guns drawn, pointed at us as if we're criminals.
15 agents.
Cuffed, taken outside, all that stuff. Went through my house. They took my computer, my cell phone, my flash drives, my journals, and my MAGA hats. And it wasn't exactly right. No arrest at the time or anything. No charges. It was just a search warrant.
Mm-hmm. So
let's fast forward 2 years of being harassed every time I fly. So I get, the extra screening at that TSA as well as screening at the gate. Yeah. And also, I don't get to check in beforehand. I have to go. They have to make sure they verify who I am every single time I fly at the front desk.
Oh my gosh.
Go through that every single time, which is crazy. It's just the introduction for the Chinese credit score that they have over there in China that they're bringing here. But then, we fast forward and November 30th, coming back from Tennessee for the premiere of Lady Ballers. That's on Daily Wire Plus, which I'm in. So you guys go check that out if you haven't yet. We're coming back, my wife and I. She's at this point 7 months pregnant, so the baby's due shortly, and or 6 months, sorry, and we're landing actually at Burbank Airport because it's a small, Burbank's a smaller airport.
It's a better airport.
Yeah, well, because it's a little different. The reason why is because when we get off at Burbank, you get off on the tarmac.
Yeah, right.
And so as soon as I, my wife and a friend of ours who was there, who was in the movie as well, they both got off first. And as I'm walking off, as soon as I step on the tarmac, I get this female agent steps in front of me and says, ask if I'm Siaka Massaquoi. And I'm like, yeah. She goes, can you come with us? You're under arrest. I'm like, what? And then two guys out of nowhere, boom, jump on either side of me, grabbing my arms. And then one guy's in front of me saying, Siaka, we're going to take you in, and the connection, or that goes, why we're taking you in. I'm like, no, what are you arresting me for? You need to tell me what you're arresting. And the one guy who was on my left, who was kind of shaking, goes, for J6. I was like, I didn't do anything on J6. He goes, when the guy on the right goes, stop talking about it. I go, he brought it up. And I'm like, and they sit there and they're like, look, man, we're not trying to embarrass you. We're trying to be reasonable. I'm like, it's too late. You already arrested me on the tarmac away from my wife. It's pretty embarrassing already.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're separating me, so I don't get a chance at all to say anything to her or to be next to her. And so they're like, "Look, we're trying to be okay. We're going to give you your stuff, all of it, all your stuff to your wife."
Thank you. That's so nice.
I know, right? They're like, "It's so peaceful of you."
Yeah.
But fortunate enough, I mean, my wife. I just think about the tactic because it's about the punishment is the process. Is what FBI whistleblower Steve Friend told me once. And and in that process, the ripping away from my wife, having her as a pregnant woman what would have been by herself if we hadn't made calls to some friends earlier or the day before to come pick us up. Our other friend Amber was there with Charlotte, so Charlotte wasn't alone, spinning out, full of different emotions going and going through her while being pregnant. Yeah. She was able to get in the car with our friends. They went to the house with her. And people stayed with her that whole night till the next day of my court hearing. And I had to spend a night in jail. Wow. It was crazy, man. But we began this, and people won't see it, but we prayed beforehand. Uh-huh. And what was amazing to me was when I got to the courthouse or got to the jail, and I kind of calmed down a little bit and I started talking about my faith. Yeah. And I asked two agents and I asked them, I was like, "Do you guys believe?" And the female was like, "No, not really." And the guy was like, "Oh, I'm a Catholic." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Are you like most Catholics or have you read the Bible?"
Nice.
He goes, "Oh man, come on." He goes, "Come on." He's upset. I go, "Oh, I mean, come on. Have you read it?" He goes, "No." I'm like, "Well, then it's not a joke. I'm just saying what it is." I said it humorously, but yeah, I'm just kind of joking with them a little bit and telling them how Jesus saves. And that night, when they put me in jail, I'm in a cell by myself. I get on my knees. I do the Lord's Prayer over and over, so much that the jailer closed the room door leading into the cells because I was so loud. But she comes back and was like, "Do you need anything to read?" And I asked if she had a Bible. So that night I was able to read a Bible, fall asleep with a Bible in my hands and in my arms. The next day, when being taken to the sheriff's office or the marshal's, where you have to get processed and all that, as soon as they put me in a cell, first thing I do is fall on my knees and pray. When I go to meet like the judge clerk in that little small room where they, your lawyer and stuff can talk to you. Yep. My lawyer, who was flying in from Florida, shows up like last minute with the red eye to be able to speak with me. Right. He leaves. Just fall on my knees. I just start singing that Brandon Lake gratitude song. Yeah. It just worshiping over and over. And the cool thing about it, so when I come out, they put us when they come out and getting ready to move us, they put us against the wall. Right. Yeah. You have to face the wall, and so there's other prisoners on either side. And there's this guy who's probably like 6'2" white dude. And it would have been if their casting was for white supremacists with tattoos, he would have been the leader. Like,
he won that role.
Had the look.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He had the look, and all I'm thinking to myself is like, "All right, man, just be cool. You're not here to prove nothing. You're trying to get home, right?" Yeah. And But they actually let me after spending a night in jail, they put me back in my regular clothes. So I was actually through that whole the second day was in what I was wearing from the airplane, which was sweatpants and a shirt, a sweater that had Jesus Saved on the back, which is a cross with chains on it. Yeah. And so as they were getting ready to transfer us we had to go get on the elevator, get to the van to go to the courthouse. As we're walking in the corridor, that guy standing behind me, and there's three others, he goes, "Hey man, nice shirt." I was like, "Oh yeah." And I start turning around and I go, "Well, Jesus saved my life." And I was a drunk alcoholic. And and I'm just going down my path, start talking. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm reading the Bible too. I've been in here for 18 years. And I'm like, "Whoa, this is serious," And so then we start talking about God the entire trip, like in the elevator, we're just talking about God. We get into the van and we're talking about God. Then this third guy jumps in and he's like, "Yeah, God for me, God for me." You kind of look like older Cheech from Cheech and Chong with a longer beard. And everything. So it was an interesting cast of characters, bro.
Interesting.
And like, so we're talking, and we start talking about novels like Count of Monte Cristo and The Lord of the Rings and C.S. Lewis, like their Christianity, and we get back onto the Bible. Yeah. And so now there's 5 of us all together. We're walking in, and they walk you through the courtroom that you're going to be when you get there. And so we're shackled now from your wrist to your waist to your ankles. Right. So you have all these guys. Everyone else is in jumpsuits except for me. I'm in my regular skivvies, if you will, and have that sweater on. And as we're walking into the courthouse, I'm expecting, because I know my wife's going to be there and my lawyer. So I'm like, I'm going to look to see where they are.
Yeah.
I'm the last one to come in. I look over, and the entire area, because this is just a bond hearing, so there's only like three rows of seats. That whole area was taken up by supporters. Half of them were people that I go to church with over in Godspeak here in Thousand Oaks.
Rob McCoy's church, if you remember.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't even see my wife because I was so like, taken aback by all the people. And you can't stop and just look around and wave at anyone, right? You have to kind of shuffle through.
Right.
But we get to the backside, and they put you in a cell until you're called up. And so while we're there, we're still talking some more. And the big dude, the guy who you would cast as a white supremacist, he taps me, he goes, "Hey man, why don't you pray for us real quick?" I'm like,
wow.
Okay. Yeah, why not? And so I ended up praying for the whole group. And one part that I remembered that I was just putting my faith on was, regardless of if we're released today or we're staying today, to know that Jesus, as long as we have Jesus with us, that we're going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
That was one of the parts of the prayer. And it was one of those like amazing moments where every guy went before me, came back, and they were being denied. Right. The guy who I was talking to, that I mentioned before, in their 18 years, was trying to see if he could get out, but it just stabbed some guy the year before who was attacking him. So I think he stabbed and killed this guy. He's like, well, hopefully I can get out. So it's like, this is the type of people I was standing around.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And when I was called, everyone in the room, like, man, I hope you get out. Hope you get out. And before I left, every time everyone came back, they were like, man, the magistrate, she's such a bee. She's such a bee.
Yeah.
She's unreasonable. She's such a bee. And so I was going there like, hey, good luck. We hope you get out. I'm like, okay. When I walked through the door to go back to the courthouse, everyone there to support me stands up, boom, like to attention. And I'm walking, and guys, to see that like, I was trying not to cry just because it was such a heavy moment as I'm shuffling forward. My wife's in her all black dress with my ring on her necklace, a cross necklace that her godmother gave to her that she never takes off.
Yeah.
She's holding her. She comes around to sit on the bench. We give each other a little quick kiss. I turned to face the magistrate, and I could feel just everyone was still standing. I could feel their hands like, just, we got you, that support. And so the way everything went down, the magistrate was confused that these misdemeanors was causing all of this issue. The DA there, the prosecutor who was there, was confused because he's like, you could tell he never handled anything like this before. And so
they all knew it was crooked.
Yeah, it was off because people hadn't seen a J6, come across their desk. And for misdemeanors, which are process crimes, to sit there and put the weight of this on it, I could see it was very confusing to them based on just the law.
Wow.
Well, you remember who was our friend that was on the show? I'm trying to remember, but I have a friend, either on the show or not on the show, in my head. He told me that the FBI never, before J6, never prosecuted misdemeanors. Yeah. They always went off the hard stuff.
It was that one dude that turned himself in.
From the Blaze.
Yeah.
Baker.
Steve Baker.
Steve Baker.
Yes.
Yeah, Steve Baker told us that. Like, the FBI doesn't prosecute misdemeanors.
Yeah. They don't execute the rest of misdemeanors. And when I talked to Steve Friend as well, he said they're literally told at the academy, we don't even waste time on misdemeanors.
Wow.
So they're not even supposed to move on this stuff. But then he also told me all these operations that we've seen, from the raid of my house to come in and get me on a tarmac, every single one of those agents get bonuses for doing it.
Oh.
So that's what you're really seeing. You're seeing the fact that,
man, we need some serious whistleblowers within the FBI right now. Like, they need to speak up.
Wow.
I mean, we've had them, and they've been out there. They've been in front of Congress, like Steve Friend, and yet now we have a Congress that, be honest with you, it looks like putting on a lot of show. Yeah. But let's compare it to the 2.5 years they controlled the Congress when Trump was in office. there was investigations, but they were followed up by impeachment hearings and all this. So they followed through what they said they're going to do.
Yeah.
And it's not, people can call this whatever they want about how, if they say I'm bashing Republicans, that's on them, but follow through.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we see one side follow through and the other side doesn't. Yeah. And the side that follows through has control of most of the apparatuses of our system right now. I wonder why.
Go ahead, Toby.
So, Siaka, what's the state of your charges? You've been charged with 4 misdemeanors, and so what happened, and what's the state of your legal proceedings?
Well, so they so in that they're going through the hearing and everything at that bond hearing. When they did arrest me, they took me in. They wouldn't show me the charge initially until I got to the jail. When I finally got to the jail, the guy, was like, "Well, here's your charges," and he showed me it was 4 misdemeanors.
Don't they have to read you your rights? Don't they have to show you the charges or tell you what you're being charged with before they arrest you and take you in?
So no, they don't. Only because the whole January 6th thing is under a different moniker, right? By it being seen as an attack on the Capitol, they can list it under terror attack. Once that was put into place because of, we have our Patriot Act with Homeland Security. Once that
George Bush, frickin' George Bush. Yeah. I'm mad right now. I've done 2 shows on the FBI in the last 2 days.
You need to stop this, Gabe.
I know. Keep going, Siaka.
I mean, here's the thing, brother. It's like, this is something that we have to watch, because I think that as conservatives, as Republicans, we tend to get caught up in who the man is. And this is not to say anything about, like, I'm a Trump supporter, we're going all the way with Trump, but we get caught up on who the man is. The other side's caught up on who just the party ideology, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, we'll show up only for the man more than we'll show up for the party as a party. And I've seen this now by just being a part of the LA GOP here in California. And so the man of George Bush was something that people are like, yeah, I can hang out with him. So you that kind of overlooked the things that he did that.
Oh, 100%. No, George Bush is one of the worst presidents we've ever had. Hands down. Oh, yeah. I'm from Texas.
We had a legal war. Yeah, we had a legal war. Yep. We have expansion of spying on Americans, first time ever to such a degree, put into law to protect us.
Yep. He doubled the Department of Education budget by I think it's like $200 billion and went like $400 billion under his watch. No Child Left Behind, which is the vehicle on how all this DEI stuff, DEI stuff, it came into the public schools.
Yeah,
and is also kind of becoming the vehicle also through Title IX, which was transing the sports.
Wow.
Right. Exactly. And so all these moves that have happened, and I think for the longest time, if we go back to George Carlin's stand-up where he said America has been bought and sold, 10 times over, I think, since the late 60s.
Wow.
That's what we've been seeing. And to me, it's why Trump has been attacked so much.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't those guys. When I told people, when you saw Obama, Bush, and Clinton all on the same video talking about like, we need to really vote this guy out, I was like, oh, that tells me everything you need to know.
Wow.
And, we as Republicans, or just Americans in general, need to stop voting just for our team and vote for people who are following, the right values that we both, that we espouse and that we hold dear to our hearts.
All right. So Gabe interrupted you because he had to go off on the FBI and George Bush. But I still want to find out about your charges.
Where are they at?
Oh, yes. So we have four misdemeanors. One is knowingly trespassing, is disorderly conduct in a restricted, disorderly conduct in the Capitol, and parading.
Parading. You just weren't a homosexual, and that's why you got that one. If you're a homosexual, that's parading.
Yeah.
Not
enough rainbows.
Yeah, not enough rainbows.
Which was crazy because I've been in parades before. I did parades in high school and stuff, and I've never done one that's 71 seconds. So I don't know. I don't know what.
That's right. Facts.
Have you guys seen a 71-second parade?
No.
I just got to tell you, man, your parade really sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
that's why you got arrested. It was so bad. They were like, we're arresting you for bad parading.
It was so bad they had to call the state on me. That's how bad the parade was. I apologize. I will do better next time.
So what's the status? What's the status of these charges?
So then we, I've filed non guilty or pled, not guilty, about a few months ago, and then we were discussing basically between my side and the state when we should have the trial. Now the government's been pushing and trying to go a lot faster with these, where when we saw what was happening before, people would get arrested and these trials would take about a year just to get to the actual sit down. So now for this one, they were asking for 3 months. We were asking for a year to 9. The judge gave us 6. So it gave us somewhere in between to a certain extent. So my trial date is October 15th. Okay. What we're doing too on this side is, with just the case of selective prosecution, because we've seen how they're coming after J6, and they even said it. One of the things we can use, or one of the things out there, is when the DOJ came out and said, we're going after everyone who was there, and even if you were on the grass. Yep. So they're very openly being selective on who they prosecute, because when pro-Hamas came in there, they haven't done anything. When BLM was in there, they haven't done anything. So we see that they haven't moved in the same way and fervor as they're coming after, God, Americans who were there on January 6th. So, we feel pretty good about our argument. I'm going to take the stand so we can discuss and tell them exactly what I was doing. Mm-hmm. I didn't get there until an hour after all the, kind of big issues went down. So I had no idea any of that stuff happened. Mm-hmm. So for the timetable, when I'm even there, so to knowingly, with 3 of those charges, the knowingly trespassing and disorderly comes with a understanding of, like, you knew that you weren't supposed to be there. Right. Yeah. There was nothing, no sign, as you saw. By the time I even got there and walked around and got close to the building from the grassy area all the way to the building, there were none. That was the first time a police said anything to me, let alone. And when they did, that's when I turned and walked out.
Go ahead. I got a question.
Yeah, I'm going to do this ad real quick. Tired of someone else telling you where to go when you have a medical need? Are you ready to take control of your own health care? Then it's time to take a look at Samaritan Ministries. It's biblical, affordable health care sharing with no restrictive networks. Here's how it works. When a medical need arises, you choose the health care provider that's right for you and have a say in the treatment you receive. Send your medical bills to Samaritan Ministries, and they'll notify fellow members to pray for you and send money directly to you to help you pay those bills. Join 80,000 other Christian households across the nation who have already taken control of their health care. Go to SamaritanMinistries.org, SamaritanMinistries.org/CrossPolitic.
Siaka, is your trial going to be in California?
No, it's going to be in DC. We have, because, here's the issues with that too. There's multiple cases that people have tried to change venue. That's been a heavier lift than anyone really wanted to try. You really wanted to go forward with, because they've been denying all those. Okay. We feel really positive about the judge that we have compared to a lot of other judges. She was a former public defender, so we worked and helped out a lot of people who don't have the means to get out there. She actually ruled very reasonably in the Dylan Hummel case recently. So with her, we've seen what's going on, and it's like, compared to even DC jury or even trying to get it moved here, we think that this judge is reasonable enough to point out, look, this is just what it was. Yeah. This person's not in here knowingly trying to do anything negative. Yeah. I think the more evidence that's coming out of, with the videos and everything, these judges are starting to have to be more reasonable. Uh-huh. So we're very hopeful, and we've seen the way my lawyer Steve Salter has seen the way she works, and we're going to go take our shot. And at the end of the day, I do believe one of the other reasons why we're pushing so hard is because a lot of people can't afford what I've been able to afford to defend themselves against misdemeanor. Yep. Right. So this is have an extra $75,000 to $100 just to put down to fight off process crimes.
So if I understood you right, you're saying that you guys are opting for the bench trial, not the jury trial. Okay. All right.
Yes. So that's right. Yeah. Because it's crazy. Those jurors out there are crazy in DC.
Yeah. We've heard that. We've heard that. Yes.
I mean, it is the swamp.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So with, I guess kind of the last question here, and then we got to let you go. But, I think there's been like 8% of these J6s have all been lost their cases.
Is that right?
something like that. It's a high percentage, right, Siaka?
Yeah.
How does
it like?
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, to me, it's like we just had Paul Vaughn. He's the pro-lifer in Tennessee that got arrested.
FBI raided his house.
Yep, brought 4 FBI agents, gunpoint.
Yeah.
Brought him in, didn't tell him why he's getting arrested. Same kind of. I mean, it's the same rinse and repeat stuff.
Yeah. Gabe, stop real quick. So you got to talk about the origin of the FBI. You're just reading this to me right before the show, and then I want Siaka to be able to
play off that.
Tell us his comparison. But when was it founded?
So this is the FBI was founded in 1908. Teddy Roosevelt, and the great grandnephew of Bonaparte.
Right. So that was your first hint. Don't start things with Bonaparte's family. First of all.
And it was started to investigate government corruption.
Right.
Like,
of course.
Like government corruption.
Right.
Not Siaka corruption.
Right.
Government corruption. And then at one point, this is on the FBI's website. This is
not conspiracy theory stuff at all.
This is straight from the website's mouth. And they said, so Bonaparte was the AG, Attorney General.
Yeah.
And he was borrowing Secret Service agents to investigate things he wanted to investigate.
In the government. Corruption in the government.
I mean, corruption in the government. I guess you can assume that.
But then he was trying to get it approved by Congress.
No, he didn't. He never tried.
I thought you said he tried.
What happened was Congress put a stop to that.
Oh.
And so when Congress put a stop to that, he just went and got his own agents.
Oh, I see.
Stopped borrowing, went and got his own agents, and put a team of like 34 agents together. And then here's what the website says. On July 26th, this is FBI, 1908, Bonaparte ordered Department of Justice attorneys, after he assembled his team together, he ordered the Department of Justice attorneys to refer most investigative matters to his chief examining officer, Stanley Finch, for handling by one of his 34 agents.
Right.
The new force had its mission to conduct investigations for the Department of Justice, so that date is celebrated as the official birth of the FBI.
Wow.
Meaning Congress never gave authority to the FBI.
Yeah, never approved that.
Never approved it.
Wow.
Bonaparte just invented it.
Growing.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, and what we talked about earlier, it hit me recently. The FBI has basically become the Praetorian Guard of ancient Rome.
That's right.
And a lot of people, I'll say this, if anyone's seen Gladiator, remember the group that was in purple, that were always around the emperor, that were in purple? They were his secret service, right? Back in the day. But what they were also, like I was saying, the FBI or the intelligence agencies, where they also moved independently. So if the emperor was moving in ways they didn't like, i.e. how Trump was moving, back then they would kill him.
Yeah.
Really what it is, because they were the ones guarding the emperor. So if they didn't like how he worked, if he, there's times where emperors were left alone just to be assassinated because he wasn't paying the Praetorian Guards properly. So we've just moved from that same ancient Rome idea of the Praetorian Guard and now put it with the FBI, where they moved they move around here untouched, or there's little any scrutiny that they ever really face, because they're the audit FBI.
Right.
And so we're seeing the same corruption happen throughout the generations here. It's really sad and
incredible.
Wow.
Who knows what's going to happen, in the sense of, I do believe Trump's going to win. I do believe these liberal mayors are going to make the people suffer in these cities.
Yeah.
But what is the intelligence agency going to do? What is the FBI going to do? I don't know, because the government is its own entity, right? It's its own beast.
Yep.
And no living organism will willingly shut itself down.
Yeah.
That's just nature, right? So it's going to be rough, if at all we get the FBI shut down. I know a lot of people are calling for that, but one of the reasons why they moved the way they moved was all those bonuses that they were getting from 21 on. That's your budget.
Yep.
right? So let's say it was like let's say it was $2 million in 2020. After 2021, to come back and go, well, our budget now is actually $20 million because of all the stuff. Great.
Right.
We need that 20. 2022 hits, and like, well, we hit 40 because we had the 20 to do, but we were able to do a little more.
Yep.
So we need more and a new space. So now everyone looks around, they're like, well, activity did go up. They did need more money.
Yep.
And so, but even though the more money came only because they were going after process crimes, which trained at Quantico, they don't do. So
and misdemeanors. Remember, they were never tasked to enforce misdemeanors and to go after misdemeanors, and they're getting paid for that now.
Siaka.
I also think like that's where we are as a country, how safe we really are when they go, you know what, let's go after people for misdemeanors. I'm like, wow, it must be that nice around here. This is crazy.
Nothing else
crazy.
Murders are down.
We need to take care of those misdemeanors. Siaka, where can people go to follow you, or how can people support you?
Yes, please. If anyone would be willing to open their wallets to help out with this, because I would like this. I said earlier, not too many people have the means, because I think I have a little bit of a name recognition.
Yep.
In the popular culture, I was able to receive a lot of donations in order to fight this all away.
Yep.
If you want to help out, go to defendsiaka.com. That's defend SIAKA.com.
Yep.
You can also find me on Instagram at Siaka_Massaquoi, and on X, formerly known as Twitter, at _Siaka Massaquoi.
All right. Awesome. Appreciate you, Siaka. Thanks for coming on CrossPolitic.
Yep. Thanks so much, man.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. All right. I'm closing out. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have kids. If you have kids, sign each one up for a club member so Knox can be here in the studio.
And
then baptize them. Until next week, go love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is CrossPolitic.